The title of this video is Astrology Update July 5th, New Moon in Cancer. So this is an update for the New Moon in Cancer for 2024. Well, as it stands now, Lilith has just entered the sign of Libra around the 1st or the 2nd of July. It is now finished a very long cycle in which Black Moon Lilith has been in the sign of Virgo for at least 6 months. And while many of you have been dealing with issues around home, work, issues with maybe your health, issues with maybe trying to schedule things, structure them, getting the right appointments, all of this is now coming to an end. And Lilith is moving on into the relationship area. So relationships will once again become more of a focus. Because we basically left a kind of a spiritual jail ever since 2024 started. There's been a lot of focus on clearing, on working, on digging through karmic contracts and situations to purge, to cleanse, to remove obstacles from our life. And collectively speaking, we're trying to connect back to that which is really important, that is which is really about our emotions, our needs, our mental health, because all of these things have been really the focus, with Saturn and Neptune being in Pisces. And right now, as we have this new moon, we have the Sun, Venus, Neptune, Saturn in water signs. So that's actually a lot of water element emphasis. And because of that, the focus will be our feelings. And in relationships, there will be new challenges. Because of course, the North that is still in Aries is going to be remaining there until the 5th of until February 2025. And now that Saturn is in retrograde since June 29, it will remain so for 6 months. Therefore, a karmic cycle has completed. So, we are now in a period of taking a break, taking care of our mental health, realizing we're just going through a hamster wheel, just doing what we've been doing what we've been told to do, what people think we should do, is no longer working. This is now coming to an end, so we are finishing whatever obligation society wants to hold us in. And in this holding pattern we've been really in for so very long, ever since Saturn turned direct in 2023. And this was actually a whole cycle of just solidifying, fortifying, strengthening, whatever you have going in your life, whatever you have been trying to work towards, this is now finished. And Neptune is also stationing now, because Neptune is of course going into retrograde as well. So now that Neptune is going into retrograde, we will also have very unusual kind of experiences, disappointments, illusions, confusions. These things are more of a thing of the past. Because you see, when Neptune goes into retrograde, it's more of a crisis of situations that don't really make sense, and situations that we often have no control over, and we just have to go through them as well. So Neptune often points towards things that we cannot control. That's what Pisces is about. Also, because all of this is water element energy, people could have problems with their home, their water system, their toilets, cleaning, purification, fasting. People could have problems with the lymphatic system. People could have problems with things that are outside of their awareness. So the focus here is to really think about what affects you physically, psychosomatically. Because this is very these are like therapy transits really. Because now the Sun is entering a new moon phase through water sign. And this is really a marking that all of the things we've been doing so far, all the things we've been working towards, it's just over. It's just done with. We are ready for something new. And this is addressing our stomach, the seat of our emotions, our needs, our money, our foundation, financial considerations that have been bothering us for a very long time. This is also coming to a shift. So if you've been struggling with money, you're most likely not going to struggle with it very much anymore after this new moon. If you've been doing very well with money, then perhaps there will be a waiting period or a vacation or a time of rest, a time of sleep. Because all of this is very much about just taking care of your mental health at the cost, often, of other things. Whether it's at the cost of work, at the cost of our relationships. Because if people are affecting you negatively, if other people are not cooperating with you, if they're not really on the same wavelength as you, but they're trying to pretend that they're on your side when actually they're not on your side. Gaslighting is going to be a huge theme with Lilith being in Libra for the next year, really. And why do I say that? Because Libra is about negotiations. It's about arguments. And Lilith is about the argument that is trying to manipulate us, trying to control us, trying to put you back in a box, trying to dictate what is right and what is wrong, when actually right and wrong is not the issue. What the issue is in our relationships is our independence, our free will, our will to choose what we want. And that's going to be under attack, going to be shamed, blamed, guilt-tripped. People will try to use manipulation strategies to emphasize shame in relationships, to try to get what they want from their partner in an underhanded, passive-aggressive or manipulative way, because that is the issue when Lilith is in Libra. If you've been already experiencing that in some way, if you've been already thinking about being abandoned or abandoning those who try to abandon you, Libra Lilith is very active for you right now. This is also where people could start meeting new people, making new contracts, agreeing to something that maybe is going to help them to understand themselves better. And of course, Lilith is about independence, our freedom, to choose who we want and who we spend our time with. So that is why it is interesting that Lilith is going into Libra at a time where Pride Month has been a big theme. Because of course Lilith rules outcasts, Lilith rules people who are unusual, so to speak. So therefore this will become a focus in relationships where you'll encounter more people that fall into that category. And whether or not you are actually compatible with these people will be decided by your ability to be honest, truthful, and just. And if you're not, because you are afraid that if you are being honest and truthful, that the person will abandon you, then that fear will manifest itself thanks to that Libra Lilith transit. So now Mercury has also gone into Leo. And because Leo is of course about fixed energy in communication, a fixed solution, a fixed way of being in your thinking. It's kind of like you want to assert yourself, assert your position. Maybe travel to have a party, travel to a location where you can have fun, or maybe think about activities that are more recreational. Because of course Mercury has been thinking all about our foundation, our money, our needs, our feelings in the past month. And now it's going to think about, well, how do we actually create more fun in our life? And how do we assert our position? So we're no longer depending on other people's approval. Because that's also been a big theme in the recent past, That is because the whole sign of Cancer is often about validation. How do we get validation emotionally for who we are, for what we feel, for what we want? And now this is moving on. And of course, Venus will be in Cancer for a while still. So any relationships that you have, any agreements or contracts you're having with a partner, a friend, this is a situation that you don't just want to abandon. You don't just want to let that thing go. Whether it's good for you or bad for you is irrelevant, really. It's just important for you to maintain that. Because Venus in Cancer is, of course, very attached. So relationships will be far more important to you at this time until she moves into Leo in August. And of course, what is also important about this coming new moon is that both the Sun and Moon will be around 15 degrees of Cancer. Or this is basically connection with dog star Sirius. And this is very important because Sirius is about enlightenment, awakening, protection of our assets. Because Sirius rules the bigger dog. And to understand these fixed stars is to understand the symbolism of the big dog. Well, what is a big dog? A shepherd for the sheep. Of course, because the big dog guards the sheep to guide them. That's why Sirius is a derivative for the word Sirius. Because a sir, somebody that guides you, like bosses you around, you could say. So why is that important for this new moon? It's because maybe you're thinking about how to become your own boss in the area that it occupies in your chart. How to be in charge of that thing. So look towards where you have 14 degrees of Cancer in your natal chart, in what house it occupies, if you have any aspects there. Look also if you have anything around 15 to 17 degrees in Libra, Capricorn, or Aries. Because the cardinal signs will make, of course, a certain aspect with that fixed star new moon. And that star is very important because it's a star of alignment. It's a star of good omens. Because the shepherd, of course, it represents many, many things that are very benevolent, very good for you. It's a very positive star. It's considered to be the most positive of all the fixed stars. You know, it's kind of opposite to Algol, which we were going to have actually on July 15. When Mars and Uranus joined with fixed star, I don't even want to know what happens really. I mean, finally we're taking a break after a whole spiritual day, a purgatory for many months. But that last shit show transit is coming up. Some of you may feel it actually about a week before. So around July 8 until July 15, you may already feel it coming up. Because Algol is really about bad omens, bad things that happen to you. It's about beheadings, not in a physical sense, but in a psychological sense. When somebody wants to behead someone, it's because they want to take power back, they want to take control back, because they feel like the person they're dealing with cannot be reasoned with. It's a situation we cannot reason with, we cannot deal with it, we cannot do anything about it, we just have to step out of it and make our choice. Go with it. Take charge. Because Mars and Uranus will be conjunction with Algol. So how is Sirius playing out with this in particular? Well, Sirius is really about the fertility of the Nile. The knowledge of the self. The awareness of God himself. It was called actually the eyes of God by certain tribes, certain cultures. It was worshipped by the Egyptians because it marked the coming of the Nile, when it would actually be a time of harvest for them. So a time of harvest, a reaping, a kind of a quickening, that's Sirius. It makes things juicy. It allows you to cash in on something that's really, really good for you. And that is why any project, any relationship, anything at all that you start on the time of a new moon, July 5th, July 6th, is going to be fertile as fuck. As fuck, really. Because there's no more positive aspect than this in astrology. You realize that, right? Most people don't know about these fixed stars, they don't understand them. But there is no more positive object that exists in astrology than Sirius, the fixed star. Why? Because there's a reason why the Egyptians worshipped it. There's a reason why the word Sir derives from it. There's a reason why it's a big dog, and dogs are humans' favorite animal. Your most loyal companion. It's a guardian, a protector of the home, of the Nile, of the money, of everything that you hold dear. It guards you. And this is why it is often associated with Cerberus, the guardian dog of the underworld. It's in the Pluto decan. You have the second decan of Cancer. So the new moon will be. The Pluto decan is all about control, fixed loyalty, about keeping evil out and keeping the good in. Nobody's allowed to enter the underworld. No enemy, no introject, no demon, no evil. And only the good stays in, so that in the afterlife you are safe. And guess who guides you for the afterlife? Anubis, the dog-headed Egyptian god who guides people after they are dead to arrive safely through safe passage on the other side. So it's what safe passage on this new moon. Anything that you start is under safe passage. Understand that, really, and you'll be able to cash in. Because you shouldn't miss out this opportunity. You need to cash in. If you're just ignoring it, what are you doing with your life? Are you not interested? Are you not ambitious about actually taking advantage of opportunities that are right in front of you, ready for the taking? Because there's not going to be any other new moon in 2024 that's going to be as positive as this one. This will be the most positive new moon in 2024 if you ask me. There's hardly any negative aspects. All the energies are in alignment. All the energies are harmonious. Saturn is basically trining the sun and new moon. And you know Saturn, you don't want to have it in a square. You want it to trine you. Saturn is trining exactly Venus, making it very good for money, relationships, anything where you want to receive, some kind of a benefit from somebody else, some kind of a contract, some kind of an agreement. That's very, very favorable energies for that. And of course, all the sun, new moon energy will be very close to Venus. Will be around a 6-degree orbit to 8 degrees. So it's a far degree, but it's still a conjunction. It's still going to be conjunction Venus, this new moon. So this is time of a new relationship, a new money matter, a new time to have leisure, pleasure, to enjoy, or for many people to have a new home. And that's actually what I've heard. Many people told me that they are actually moving at this time. So if you're thinking about moving, you're lucky, because this is the best time astrologically you could ever move, really. Also, Jupiter is in Gemini, so movement is of course favored. At the time of this video, Jupiter is actually conjunction moon, but Jupiter is in detriment in Gemini. So don't think it's actually in a good position there. It's good for travel, of course, good for movement, but it's also very good for overthinking. Good for overthinking because Gemini is about problem solving, communication, arguments. At the time that Moon and Jupiter are joined just before the new moon, you may be thinking about arguments or conversations a lot. Or you may be thinking about something you need some kind of clarity on, something that you need more information. You need to learn more about that. So these are the major aspects going on. But there's one more aspect. Mercury is opposing Pluto. So that's the last aspect that you really want to look at. because of course Pluto is also in retrograde. We have Saturn, Neptune, Pluto retrograde, all the other planets retrograde. And this particular opposition is where communication will be very, very difficult. You may be like, oh, I can't say the wrong thing. I need to be very careful about what I say. It's like there's a weight to your words because you know, whatever you say, it's going to have severe consequences. Wherever you go, however you move, at what time, what schedule, what details, what are you learning, what are you trying to get more information of, is very, very critical to you. So it's very important that you read the fine print and also look out for deception, lies, manipulation. Look out for very negative thinking, you know, like catastrophizing, being kind of like negative. Could be an illusion. Because Pluto is in retrograde and is not going to be everything that it seems to be. It could simply be that you're addressing a psychological issue that you have, which is responsible for your negative thinking at this time. And you have no control over the thinking by controlling the external. It could be that the external is controlling you. Especially with Jupiter depositing that on the moon in Gemini. Oh, this Mercury is not well placed. It doesn't like to be in Leo anyways. So I don't really like this. You know, it's a time of worrying for some people. Unnecessarily. You know, worrying unnecessarily, getting into arguments, fights, where we don't need to be in. Where you have to take yourself out of using your rational mind to fix the situation and instead use your intuitive mind. That's what Pluto is about. And that's why it's in retrograde, it goes inward. So it's about addressing something that's about you, something personal. Maybe some childhood trauma, but it's affecting your thinking in this situation. And this is why things are not what they seem. So watch out for this transit. That's basically it, yeah. That is most of the aspects for this new moon. Now, if you found this useful, if you'd like to have more updates like this in the future, please leave a like and subscribe. If you're interested in my personal readings, one-on-one readings, check out the description down below, all my services on my photo album page on my page. And if you'd like to book a personal reading, you can message me at any given time. And with that being said, thanks so much for watching. See you in the next video.